Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is Cry Aloud Messengers, and I am your host, Sister Edith Zombe. Today, our presentation is what is the great and dreadful day of the Lord in Malachi 4, verse 5. Elijah the prophet. We read from Malachi 4, verse 5 and 6. It reads, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." We also read Malachi 3, verse 1. It reads, "Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord whom ye seek shall certainly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts." Here, brothers and sisters, we see that the Lord has promised to send us Elijah the prophet, and he is to come before the coming of the great and the dreadful day. We'll also see that this promised Elijah will be having the message of revival and reformation. So here we want to know what is meant by the great and the dreadful day of the Lord. Malachi 3 verse 1 gives an answer to that. The great and the dreadful day of the Lord. It is the sudden coming of the Lord to his temple. The coming of the Lord to his church, the Seventh-day Adventist church, which is the purification of the church, the separation of the wheat from the tares, which is portrayed in Ezekiel chapter 9. Revival and reformation. We read from Testimonies for the Church, volume 3, page 62. It reads, "John separated himself from friends and from the luxuries of life. The simplicity of his dress, a garment woven of camel's hair, was a standing rebuke to the extravagance and display of the Jewish priests and of the people generally. His diet, purely vegetable, of locusts and wild honey, was a rebuke to the indulgence of appetite and the gluttony that everywhere prevailed. The great subject of reform is to be agitated, and the public mind is to be stirred. Temperance in all things is to be connected with the message, to turn the people of God from their idolatry, their gluttony, their extravagance in dress and other things." Here, brothers and sisters, we see that the life of John, it was a life of a reformer. He was a dress reformer, a health reformer. His life in general was giving glory to the Lord. Here we see that we as a church, we really need this message of revival and reformation, which is coming with this Elijah, because we see that us today, we have not yet reached this standard that the Lord needs us to be in. Great for the righteous. We read from Revelation 7, verse 1 to 4 and verse 9. It reads, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and palms in their hands. Here, brothers and sisters, we see that this great and dreadful day of the Lord, it is going to be great only for the righteous, for those who are going to receive the message of Elijah the prophet, which is preached today in the church of God. We see that this great and dreadful day, it is going to be great first in the church of God for the 144,000, those who are going to accept the message of Elijah and receive the seal of God in their foreheads, those who are going to escape the slaughter of Ezekiel chapter 9. We also see that this great and dreadful day of the Lord, it is going to be great for the great multitude, which is going to accept the message of the loud cry, which is going to be preached in the world during the mark of the beast. Dreadful for the wicked. We read from Ezekiel 9 verse 5 and 6. It reads, And to others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. We also read Revelation 6 verse 15 and 17. It reads, And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and say to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Here, brethren, we see that this great and dreadful day of the Lord, as we said, that it is going to be great for the righteous, and we see also that it is going to be dreadful for the wicked. First, in the church of God, those who are rejecting the message of Elijah, which is being preached today in the church of God, those who are rejecting this message of revival and reformation, the ones who are not going to receive the mark, the seal of the Lord in their foreheads. We also see that it is going to be dreadful for the wicked, the ones who are going to reject the loud crying message, which is going to be preached when the four winds are let loose. Until the second coming. We read from Testimonies to Ministers and Gospel Workers, page 182. It reads, The world is soon to be left by the angel of mercy, and the 7 last plagues are to be poured out. Sin, shame, sorrow, and darkness are on every side, but God still holds out to the souls of men the precious privilege of exchanging darkness for light, error for truth, sin for righteousness. But God's patience and mercy will not always wait. Let not one soul think that he can hide from God's wrath behind a lie. For God will strip off the soul the refuge of lies. The balls of God's wrath are soon to fall, and when he shall begin to punish the transgressors, there will be no period of respite until the end. The storm of God's wrath is gathering, and those only who stand, who are sanctified through the truth in the love of God, they shall be hid in Christ. They shall be hid with Christ in God till the desolation be overpassed. He shall come forth to punish the inhabitants of the world for their iniquity, and the earth shall also disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Here, brothers and sisters, we see that the great and the dreadful day of the Lord, which we are talking about today, which we want to know what is meant by the great and dreadful day of the Lord. This quotation tells us that the great and the dreadful day of the Lord, which is soon to come, it is not a day as in a literal one day, but it is a period of time which starts by the separation of the wheat from the tares in the church of God. This dread and dreadful day of the Lord starts by the purification of the church, and it will end at the second coming of Christ. Conclusion of the matter. The great and dreadful day of the Lord is a period of time from the purification of the church, which is the separation of the wheat and tares, to the second coming of Christ. Great for the righteous, the 144,000 and the great multitude. Dreadful for the wicked, those who will perish at the purification of the church, and for those who will reject the loud cry message. For more information, contact our admins at Cry Aloud Messengers. God bless.